Morning.
Oh, we didn't do this song, but that's okay. Dr. Wilcox wouldn't sing along.
I'll do it. Dr. Wilcox, Dr. Wilcox, Dr. Wilcox. You.
How are you?
I'm well.
And get ready for a trip where you're going to a convention.
Yeah, just had one this weekend. I was a student in a vendor at, and I go to Miami for an international ozone meeting. I'll be leaving at the horrible 8:30 Norfolk flight time.
International ozone means people are coming from all over the world.
All over the world. And I went to one before a handful of years ago and presented there. And I use ozone and used it yesterday to help somebody with a concussion who had eye problems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wonderful stuff. And so I'll talk about it. I'm always talking about, just kind of what happened in the past few days.
When you turn on your ozone machine, does it help the ozone up in the air?
Well, the ozone, you have to understand this. Atmospheric ozone, air, is made of 80% nitrogen and 20% oxygen with other stuff in there, including, elephant farts. And
cow flatulence.
There you go. And so when you take an electric charge, after a thunderstorm, you walk outside, you go, and you smell that nice smell, and it actually energizes you because of the charged particles. You walk out if you close your eyes and think about walking outside after that thunderstorm, you go, wow, I feel great. And it wasn't the sunrise or the sunset, it was the ozone you're breathing in. Now, that being said, you can't breathe in ozone. Whiffs are okay, but when you put an electrical charge in air, it's 80% nitrogen. Then you get nitrates and harmful things that can bother your body. But when you use pure oxygen, medical oxygen, and you put a charge in there, you don't get 100% ozone. You get 95% remains oxygen, and then there's about 5% that's ozone, which is O3. Okay. And then it changes quickly back to oxygen. So you have oxygen's O2, ozone's O3, and when those O3s break into O2s and O1, and for a moment, a fraction of a second, a moment, you can sit here and have that O1 do things. And so instead of grabbing onto another O1 to make an O2 or oxygen, it can do things. And you get these ozonides and lipid peroxides and oxidation, and it works. And so you can apply it to the human body tons of different ways. I have some on my skin right now. I put it on my face every morning.
Really?
Ozonate. Oh, yeah. You bubble ozone through oils, numerous oils, but Nikola Tesla, that not so smart guy.
Yeah.
He was the first guy to bubble ozone through olive oil. And it stays. It keeps. And so you can put it on your skin. It works great for longevity, for improved quality of your skin. It will help with blemishes and irritations.
Do you buy it in a cream, I take it?
No, it's like a Palms olive hand, one of those Palms. It's a little jar. You open up the lid and apply it and go from there. So you can do that. Well, you can bubble it through oils, and there's a way to get these terpenes, they're called, into your lungs. Principally, you keep away from the lungs, but unless you know how to do that, we can bubble it into your ears. Actually, it's called ear insufflation, and did that yesterday. I'll get to that in a second. And you can put it in. There's a process, hundreds of thousands, millions of cases of injecting it to your vein through the proper slow process of doing this. It's called DIV. And
that to me sounds dangerous.
I know, and I've taught doctors how to do this stuff, and and not that I do that, okay, but I know stuff, and then you can suck blood out of your body, introduce ozone into the bag of blood that's sitting over your shoulder, and then reintroduce it into your body, and there's all these names given to this stuff, and now that there's processes of doing these things, so. Good things happen, and so I like to have people look at imagine a picture of three pictures. There's an NFL athlete with sucking oxygen on the sideline,
right.
An elite athlete breathing oxygen who just needs some help to get back in the game. There's Dr. Bruce Banner changing into the Hulk, and then there's a bug zapper. So this is what happens with ozone. One, you get oxygen, okay, and so you got your oxygen and all the qualities we know about oxygen. Two, when the human body gets hit with ozone, in addition to these other cascades that happen, it upregulates your immune system. What does Dr. Banner do? He turns into the Hulk. What does Hulk do? Hulk smash. And so that's killing the bugs in your immune system and doing things. And works on that COV something D thing as well. And then bugs don't have an immune system. Bugs can't turn into the Hulk. And so it's going to, the unpaired oxygen, the singlet oxygen, is going to bind on to the outside, usually of the bug, the bacteria, the protozoan, the yeast, and kill it. And so that's what it does in a nutshell.
Why isn't this a common practice?
Go outside the United States of America, you'll find it everywhere. And we have this in these brick walls, and it goes on in America and growing rate. And it's like anything else. And I'll say it's big pharma. You know, it works. You know, and do big pharma want cures or patients, and they want chronicity. You know, the one way to look at it.
Right.
But then there's a big brick wall around allopathic medicine, and it's a big wall that's hard to break through, and it's not popular to do this, and it's not that healthcare providers aren't great people. It's just if they're not taught it, they don't want to listen to it, or there's barriers. So let's keep happy.
And it depends on who teaches it also.
Yeah, without a doubt. So yesterday, I had a high school senior in. 9 weeks ago, this student athlete was struck above his right eyeball with a knee when he's playing soccer. So it turned into a rugby game. And so he suffered a concussion. And he's been up in Richmond with a special neurologist, pediatric neurologist, and he has an occupational therapist that he doesn't converge his eyes well. When he looks up close, he gets double vision. And this happened nine weeks ago. So this poor child's been suffering since. And
how did he end up at your office?
I'd seen him a couple years ago in the past, and so Mom said, we're going to try Peter out. And so with a little bit of conversation, a little bit of show and tell in the office about we can do this and we can do that, I use magnetic fields, pulsed electromagnetic fields over his cranium. And remember, the eye's the brain.
Right.
And 40% of the brain is given to vision, and it goes to the front and the back. And, the computer for the eyes is in the back of the skull. And so use that. And there's a couple places where he was sensitive to things and feeling things. And we noted that. Matter of fact, I was down an employee yesterday, so Mom was I showed her real quickly how to keep notes for me because I didn't have enough hands. And then we made note of that. And then the next thing we did was use some resonance. You can resonate things and use frequency-specific microcurrent or these scalar frequencies onto his neck and the back of his neck. And there was sensation, awareness there. By the way, he's had this 4 to 5 headaches for 9 weeks, okay, and crooked eyes.
4 to 5 meeting the rating.
Yeah, at a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst. And then after we did that, his headache is coming down, and you get people to score it. And you can look in their face, too, and see when they're wincing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so we got him down to a 2-3. Then I had Mom, I slipped out in the other room. I had Mom repeat some of the things she just watched me do with these magnetic fields and the way we deliver those. And then came in and used ozone in his ears, just percolating into the ears with a process we use. And it came back in, the timer went off, and he's a 0. He had no pain. And it's neat stuff. He'll be back next week for us to repeat it, because usually
So is his concussion gone?
Yes. Well, no. What is a concussion? A concussion is a result. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You strike. What's the root cause of the problem?
You
Okay.
get,
So a
concussion, strike to the head, brain movement, right?
And a strike to the head and a contusion. So he gets a bruise. And you also get out of resonance with things. If you have I'm just making this up, so don't hold me to it, but if you have a swing that you're pushing, and it's going back and forth and back and forth, and then you throw a brick at it, and it goes wobble, 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 wobble. Then you got to stop it and push it back and forth and back and forth. And so you get out of resonance. And so when you introduce these resonance fixers, okay, let's just call them that, and you also reduce inflammation by using mechanisms of getting anti-inflammatory processes. Maybe we'll use something that's been on this earth for a while, called oxygen. Okay, and instead of all these other chemicals that you can get at the drugstore, and that's one of the processes. I'm not saying in any way that this is the only way to do things.
No, I know.
Okay, but it's I'm a root cause guy. How do you keep it simple?
But let me ask. So this young man came in. Mm-hmm. Are you taking off?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go vote.
Okay.
I can't contribute to this conversation.
No, she's
Good.
She's concussed. She needs some ozone.
I'm just going to carry these to the kitchen.
Thank you very much.
You want one?
Have a great day.
Those are pumpkin muffins with maple coating.
Sounds good.
It's delicious. Healthy, too.
I'll probably sneak in the kitchen and get one on the way out.
So here's my question. You treated this gentleman for how long?
40 minutes.
Okay.
Doing different things.
See,
three modalities, 5 minutes of this and 10 minutes of that and 20 minutes of something else.
So after 9 weeks
Yep.
of these headaches and everything, obviously his contusion was going away.
Yes,
to some sense.
But his resonance was off, and he had some. So one, I'm not saying I understand. I'm never the smartest guy in the room, but I'm a phone call away from somebody or whatever. And I know I have good spidey senses. I can put two and two together.
But I guess my question is, why isn't this part of concussion protocol?
I don't know. Because frankly, all of us. Some people playing golf use that really long putter, and some people use other putters, and some people say, it's a tool. And even though there's thousands of papers published on this stuff, people have to get outside their box and say, hey, I'm going to try this. If it's not billable to insurance and patients don't want to hear that, well, then I'm sorry, it's not. There's not a code for it. And, you don't want there to be a code for it as a healthcare provider because you bought the stuff, you do the stuff, you learn the stuff. So I'm going to play nice and say that I don't know. You go ask them, don't ask me.
Why don't you want a code for it?
Well, because the fact of the matter is, they're different. I'm at an eye conference this weekend. There's an instrument that you can use in the eye that gives you great information. And actually for working on eyelids, and I think people I don't have one, I don't want one, $30,000-$40,000 for this gizmo, and it used to reimburse $150 or some number, and now the AMA says, oh yeah, and Medicare says we'll pay for it, and here's $20.
Oh,
you
gotcha.
You go, I can't pay the bill. I've got a loan. I have this thing called money, and I have to go, so you go, everyone's trying to get rid of theirs, and no one wants one, because even though it works, it's like you let the evil giant in the house, the person who doesn't appreciate what it costs to do stuff.
So how did, do you have the ability now to give this young man the go-ahead to go back to playing soccer?
No, that would be, he has a pediatric neurologist who I will reach out to. Okay. And the mom's like, you got to tell Dr. So-and-so. And I said, well, I will. And, we'll see if he listens. And because people are busy, people have barriers, maybe they will. Sure. And I'm always happy to communicate. I send emails out to patients and doctors all day long. Been doing it for all my career. And I just communicate. I got a lot to say, and I get to the point. And you got to find who's on your team. You got to educate them. I usually will, like this child and his mother, he's 18, so he's a young man. He left with Ocufolin, this medical food that helps vasodilation. That if you have macular degeneration, you should not be taking AREDS2 vitamins. It's 15-year-old science, and the scientist who did the AREDS2 study and what's called the WAFAC, WAFACS study, that showed that B6, 9, and 12 are better for macular degeneration than is AREDS2. They just came out with a major paper and said that given 10 years if we had a new formula, it would be made out of this, and that's what Ocufolin is, which was made 12 to 15 years ago. And I've been on that bus for 6 or 7 years.
You have to be impressed, though, with the mom to go through as much as they've gone through in 9 weeks. And I'm sure they've gone through a lot of testing and a lot of procedures.
Twice a week, occupational therapy, where some OT is working on his eyes, and they apparently a lot of visits with this neurologist, and so they have their bag of tricks, and I have a different one.
Now, do you use their determinations or did you determine for yourself that yes, he did have a concussion?
Oh, if somebody says they're A negative, I guess they're A negative, right? And you don't have to go test their blood.
Right, I got you.
And so sure, and people aren't going to come in and tell you crazy stories like that. I want to spend time and money with you for no good reason, So he did, and it's just fun. So the thing is, people are. It's neat that the alternative therapies that exist in the world, holistic medicine, it's becoming more with the internet. The internet is good news, bad news. Dr. YouTube and Dr. Google, they can get you in deep trouble, or they can expose you to opportunities that are out there.
And there are people out there like my wife that something happens and she immediately goes to the internet. And I'm going, oh, no.
Yeah, well, and, you can go, my hood wouldn't open in my car in a certain car, and you got to go take out the headlight and do this, that, and the other. And so you can find stuff. But on this, people need to use, we have a brain, we can use it, we have senses, we have suspicion, and there's a lot of ways to do things. You can get yourself in deep trouble by taking bad advice that you didn't vet out. So we're here. We're healthcare providers. We are loving, kind, generous people who've spent a lot of years in school, some a lot more than others. Some continually study, some play golf as much as they can. And so you have all these different, and we all know this, we have all these different people out there who you get to decide through yourself, your friends, successes,
your confidence level,
if you want to invest in them.
Yeah,
and it's lovely, and let's hope it stays that way. It's getting less that way a lot faster than we expected with this current pandemic, and I'm on the side of let's listen. If you got something going on, let's put something in your mouth instead of go home and let's see what happens. And there's a lot of bad to be said about that.
Well, Dr. Wilcox is located at the Point. Just so you feel comfortable, he doesn't often ask Mom to do a procedure while he's out of the room. I don't want anybody to. I don't want any kid to think, no, I'm not going there with.
It was just hold this thing right here, because so that's funny.
Look in there, Mom, and turn these buttons till you think it looks good. But you have a safe trip, sir.
Oh, thank you.
And we always appreciate having you in here.
Thank you, and I'm glad you're looking better and you're feeling better, I presume.
The strength is building every day. There are days that I go home and just zonk. And yesterday I had some energy and worked on the lawnmower a little bit and got the leaves up in the back half of the yard. But boy, I'll tell you what, it's taken its toll on me.
Well, you're lucky that you're here and well, and I know you thank the dear Lord for that.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Wilcox, you'll be back next week, is it?